Hello, everybody, and welcome back to yet another cast of Beyond All Reason. Guys, I've been meaning to get a cast out to you for days, weeks, months, years, centuries, millennia. I know you guys have been wanting it, and I am sorry it has taken me so long, but I am finally able to come back with another bar cast. And guys, this time it's going to be a 1v1 on a map called Z 3.3 Remake. And guys, as you can see, this is a pretty cool map. You've got this really nice, great looking terrain features. You've got this purple lava and the sort of explosion effects here. Really well designed, and you also have these purple crystals all over the map, and these can be reclaimed for resources. So this is sort of a 1v1 map, guys, and so it's a little bit smaller. And as you can see, this is lava. You cannot put units in it. You can't. This is not water. You can't build ships. But guys, I do expect a good game here. Our two players are PtaQ here in the blue core commander who has gone K-Bots first, and Randy in red, the core commander, also going K-Bots first. Guys, these two players are some of the best in the business, and so this is going to be an epic 1v1, I can assure you. Sit down, strap yourselves in, get your popcorn ready, and let's enjoy the show. Now, guys, before I continue with this, I would love to have you as part of my community. You could join my Discord. I'm going to post the link in the description of this video, and we are growing. I love all my viewers. I appreciate all of you so much. I recently hit 1,000 subscribers, and couldn't do it without you guys. So if you want to be part of the community, please join the Discord. We really appreciate everyone that comes in and views these videos. And so with that, let's get into the game. Now, as I said, Taku here is one of the developers and also one of the best bar players and BA, Balanced Annihilation players in the universe, and Pro Randy as well. He is a fantastic player. So both of these guys really at the top of the food chain here, apex predators, if you will. These two guys are certainly going to put on a show for us. Now, guys, one thing I do want to say is that in bar, 1v1s typically do not go very long because one player will get an advantage, and then it's sort of lights out from there. Once one player gets ahead, it is difficult to recover. So typically, if you want a game to go on for a long time, the longer games are the team games like 4v4, 5v5, 6v6, and in fact, bar can even go up to 8v8 games. But this game in particular, it's just a 1v1. However, I have heard that it is an epic 1v1 that actually goes the distance. It is actually going to be a longer, more drawn-out game. And so, guys, I'm excited to see how that happens, because like I said, most bar 1v1s end very quickly. So this should be a treat. Now here in the beginning, both players just building a lot of grunts, which is the core sort of main battle bot, T1. They're a good mixture of speed and firepower. They do decent damage. They're easy to mass produce. They're just a pretty well-rounded T1 unit. Of course, the disadvantage is that they have not that much health, and their range is sort of short. And obviously, because you build so many, because it's sort of a swarm unit, maybe the bar equivalent to a Zergling, or maybe a Marine, if you're familiar with StarCraft. They are vulnerable to AoE attacks, so any kind of AoE explosion, if you can hit multiple AKs at once, sort of chunk them in mass. It's always an option. And then, of course, another big weakness is their range is slow, and so as the game progresses, units will slowly outrange them and make them sort of obsolete. But Randy finding a nice little avenue of approach here, as he moves up Taku's southeastern side, and he will take out a con. Guys, I have mentioned in previous casts, killing your opponent's cons or construction units early on is a huge, huge advantage. It is definitely the goal. And now Taku is in a little bit of trouble here, as Randy has brought in a nice squadron of grunts, but it does look like PtaQ will be able to push this off, as he has taken his commander and moved to the center of the map here, and has begun to construct a middle base. Now, guys, it is important to note that in these games, pretty much in bar and any version of TA, you do want to hold the middle. Holding the middle is a very nice strategy or tactic. Like, for example, in this map, if you hold the middle, let's go ahead and get rid of this. You can you have access to the whole map, so you can use these ridges to get to either base very quickly. So it will give you really good map control. There's also metal in the middle. There's reclaim in the middle. And it's generally true in these games that holding this portion of the map, the center of the map, sort of like chess, it will give you an advantage. So Taku has sent his commander early on to try to secure this position, because, again, this is a vital, very important position to hold. And Randy also sending his commander to the middle, as well as both players, again, are at the top of their game. They're going to understand that holding the middle on this kind of map is extremely important in order to get that advantage over your opponent and secure that map advantage. Now, Randy has moved on from grunts to aggravators, which, if you are familiar with OTA, would be called storms. And the thing about storms or aggravators is that they have a much longer range than the grunt. So even though they are slower and they can get surrounded, they're not so good in a close range situation, but they are a very strong T1 unit for harassing your opponent from a distance. And of course, they are very good against defensive emplacements, which they can outrange. They can outrange these light laser towers. And so already we're going to see that. We're going to see Randy sending in those long-range rockets. Guys, the aggravator rockets do not have a homing feature. They are unguided, and they're sort of slow, but they do nice damage. And again, they have a good range. So this is going to be a bit difficult, I think, for Taku, as aggravators are a nice option after the grunt spam that these games generally have early on. But thugs are also a good option to sort of level up your army after the initial grunt spam phase. The problem, however, is that aggravators actually outrange these thugs. Thugs are pretty nice because they have a trajectory. Their shells shoot in an arc, and that can be good in certain situations as well, like against Dragon's Teeth. But in sort of a direct engagement, the aggravators will outrange the thugs, and that will As you can see, if microed correctly, that's going to be a problem for Taku, as Randy is slowly sieging his base and his army from a very good distance. And Randy sort of in a bit of trouble here. I mean, not Randy. Taku is in a bit of trouble as he doing what he can to keep his defenses alive. He is still building light laser towers, and now bringing in some lashers, which is the T1 missile truck. Now, guys, this is interesting because the T1 missile truck actually outranges the aggravator, but they just do a tiny percent of damage. If you see this, they're just like little pinpricks. It's not much damage at all to ground targets. They're actually an anti-air unit specifically. They're designed for anti-air, but if you get enough of them, they can slowly through war of attrition evaporate your units and your base. It is not a quick process, but if you have enough of them, and as we can see, Taku is building a nice little army. But guys, here in the southeast corner of the map, Randy has been diverting some of his resources to what may perhaps be a sneak attack with thugs. Guys, thugs are the ideal base assaulting unit because they do good damage. They have a decent range. They have a good amount of health, and their units or their bullets go in an arc, so they can avoid obstacles in hitting their targets. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as we also watch this battle here in the middle unfold. But again, yeah, Taku could have a critical mass of lashers here. That is quite a few. And because Randy has been diverting some of his army south, which Taku now seems to be aware of, he's sending some brutes to stop that, to halt that aggression. Guys, one thing that's interesting is that Taku has switched into vehicles. He reclaimed his K-Bot lab, so he no longer even has a K-Bot lab at all. And his opponent has done the same thing. Randy has reclaimed his K-Bot lab and has gone into vehicles. So guys, this is a pretty common thing, especially at higher level play. The players will start at one tech, so say K-Bot or air. Sometimes they'll start air, and then they will go into another form of technology. They will reclaim their original lab and choose a different style. And in this case, both players have done that. They have both reclaimed their K-Bot labs and have gone into vehicles. And that is an interesting strategy. Obviously, K-Bots are very strong early on, but vehicles have some nice advantages as the game progresses. Of course, you don't have to go into vehicles, but vehicles do have these longer range lashers, and the Wolverines as well, which will outrange any K-Bots at the T1 phase. But now, Taku with a nice little attack here in the middle. He has brought most of his vehicles here. And guys, the brutes are sort of the ideal tank in bar. They have a good mix of speed and health and firepower. They're expensive, but they're really great at breaking defensive lines. They're sort of designed for a front range assault. They sort of personify the tank archetype. They are the medium battle tank. And there's a nice little battle here in the center between armies of grunts, and we want to watch that. But guys, it does look like Randy has just enough to push Taku back here in the middle. And in the south, there is another attack brewing as Randy has built quite a scary army. conglomeration of thuds and AKs. And all PtaQ has are a couple of levelers here, or pounders as they're called. And the thugs can outrange these. He will kill that that farm of metal makers and force PtaQ back. And guys, this is the time for Randy to push. PtaQ just has almost nothing here. He does have a couple light laser towers, but these thugs can kill those very, very quickly. And he really needs to attack before Taku can build a counter, build something to stop him. But I know Randy doesn't know. It's a lot easier as a caster. Let me show you. So let me turn player view. So guys, this is all Randy can see. Though he doesn't know exactly what Taku's doing. Obviously, he doesn't have God mode like us, where we can see his whole base. He only has this outline of the base, or the shadows. But this is the time to attack. Taku just has almost nothing. But the longer he waits to attack, the more blue is going to be able to build counters, build defenses, and prepare himself for this assault. And so I'm just not sure why Randy, decided to attack there and then just back off. There was just no reason that Randy had to back off. He had an overwhelming force. These thugs outrange the pounders, and he will finally decide to move back in. But now Taku has those shurikens, and these are the core paralyzer drone, and these paralyzers will stun all of Randy's army and force him back. And ultimately, that delay, that indecisiveness by Randy was a critical mistake. He had the opportunity there maybe to destroy PtaQ's entire starting base and win the game. But just some indecision. And I don't really understand it. This is a little difficult for me because he either could have attacked the first time and tried to destroy the base, or just not have attacked. Hold that thought. There's a battle in the middle here. Grunts sort of trading shots, but what I was saying is that Randy could have either decided to commit to that attack the first time and just kill Taku's base, or at least attempt, or just not attack and just sort of hold this line, create a contain, a light contain or a soft contain, preventing PtaQ from moving east, taking this metal, and denying him this whole part of the map. But his decision to attack 3 minutes later was the worst of both worlds. He didn't attack as fast as he could. I mean, he started to, and then he backed off. But then he just randomly decided 3 minutes later to attack. Based on I don't know what. Like, there was just no logic to it. So he sort of did the worst of both worlds. He either needed to commit to the attack from the very beginning and try to break Taku's starting base, or just not attack. But you've got to be decisive, guys, in this game. You have to make decisions and stick with them. One of the worst things you can do in bar, in OTA, in an RTS in general is kind of have a half-assed strategy. It's better to have a solid strategy and attempt to execute it and lose than it is to have a half-assed strategy and then not really lose but not win either, and you're just sort of I mean, there's a saying in RTS games, playing not to lose, right? There's a saying. So a lot of times in an RTS, players will simply do what it takes not to lose. So they're not basically they're not trying to win. They're just doing what they can to survive, or doing what they can to try to stay in the game as long as possible. But that's not a strategy to win. So to win, you have to commit to something. You have to commit to something sometimes risky or dangerous, or that might turn out badly. But that's playing to win. You know, that's doing something out of the box, or something very aggressive or risky. All in is another term you hear a lot. All in strategies, where you're putting all your chips, all your cards on one attack or one gambit, and if it pays off, you win, and if it doesn't, you lose. But at least you committed to something, and you know, either won or lost the game there, instead of just you know, sort of playing it safe and achieving nothing, and then your opponent's going to beat you just because they had a strategy, they had a plan, and you didn't. But this game isn't over, of course. Randy still in a very good position here in the mid. A lot of battling, a lot of trading between grunts here, and now Taku bringing the bombers into play. Taku is preparing this bombing run, as you can see here. Moving forward at the, let's slow it down here at the north corner of the map. He is going for a nice bombing run on Red's base here. And, ooh, very nice. He will take out a few metal extractors there. He looks like he's going to take out most of the wind generators as well. So that is very, very nice. Very nice bomber play by Taku, and that is a strategy that can, of course, catch your opponents off guard if done well. It seemed like Randy did not have a ton of air defense here. Give me 1 second to fix this. So yeah, that's a good example of committing to a strategy. Guys, going into air is expensive. Building the air lab, of course. Let's see how much it costs. The air lab itself is 840 metal, so that's quite expensive. And then you have to build the bombers as well, which cost 4,600 energy apiece. And so, you know, airplay does require a lot of resources, and it will take away from your ground play. You can almost see here in the middle that Randy is, you know, he's sort of ahead in the ground war, probably because he didn't go into bombers. I mean, he's committed all of his economy or resources into this ground push and all this defenses. But I have to say, Randy is doing a good job of holding the middle here. He's got, let's see, he's got, oh, it's not showing up, a 9. He's got 9 nano turrets, repairing everything on the front line, keeping his army healthy, keeping his defenses healthy. And with all these nano turrets, he can build even more defenses very quickly. And Taku is sort of just getting pushed back by Randy's defense and nano turret creep here in the front. And that is a difficult situation for Taku to be in. As you can see, he is slowly crumbling here in the front, even after that really nice bombing run. So Taku needs to do something, and he is advancing to T2 K-Bots, so that will be his next plan to stay in the game. A nice little, another bombing run here in the north, taking out a mechs. But ultimately, Randy is now building a lot of air defense all across the map, so it will be harder now for Taku to use that bombing play. And one of the spectators is speaking in French, and so I can't understand what he's saying, but he's talking about something about T2, and I assume what he's saying is that Taku is transitioning to T2 to try to stay in the game, because he is in a difficult position here with losing this battle in the middle, and even though that was a nice bombing run, Randy is recovering nicely, and Nobi is saying he lost anyway, so Nobi has decided that Taku has lost the game here at 22 minutes in, just because Randy has taken such a solid control of the middle of the map, and that is going to give him a great position to sort of win the game. Again, he can come down here now. He can attack from this angle, and PtaQ has almost no defenses. I mean, I won't say he has some laser towers, but that's not really enough. I think if Randy committed his entire army, it would be tough for Taku to stop it. And he can now do that, and so Taku just slowly getting pushed back here in the middle. This is a very difficult situation for him to be in. But he is building mines here, guys. He is building mines. And you don't see mines too often. So we'll have to see if they work. Here we go. Oh, he's so close to running into him. He just barely misses the mines, and he will back off. Randy probably realized the mines were there, and he will retreat as soon as he's aware of that. You do not want to run your army into mines. Those can be very devastating in the right situation. So Taku doing what he can to hold on to his corner of the map and stay in this game as much as possible. But he is on T2, guys, and I have mentioned in many previous casts that having that tech advantage can give you a massive boost over your opponent, and sort of snowball into something insurmountable as the game goes on. So the longer that Taku stays on T2, the better off he will be. He's building these mines in the front to delay Randy's attack. Randy has an overwhelming force. And once again, I don't know why he doesn't just send it down this way. However, Taku does have pyros here, or fiends, in bar. The fiend is a... oh, hold that thought. Some nice mine hits there as Randy attempts to send a small raiding force through. And it will get a little bit achieved. But now Taku is running out of energy, and so his mines are decloaking, and now Randy is going to have the opportunity to kill these. So once again, Taku in a difficult situation. However, he does have this tech advantage, and the longer he can hold on to this tech advantage, the better off he will be. As you can see, Randy has most of the map, but PtaQ's eco is now stronger because he's building these advanced metal extractors. And so even though PtaQ only has this small corner of the map, he is economically ahead because he's on T2. And PtaQ really holding on for dear life here. This is really looking bad for him because Randy is so far ahead. Like one of the spectators already said, he's lost. But now, look, PtaQ doing something that we almost never see, guys, and that is building a crawling bomb. Guys, the scuttle, the core scuttle, is an advanced crawling bomb. It is invisible, and what it does is it simply walks into your opponent's base, or walks into their army and explodes. And if your opponent isn't waiting for it, it can take out a massive chunk of the army. Wow, that was amazing. Very, very well played by Taku. These crawling bombs are just rarely ever used. It's an interesting unit. Obviously, its only purpose is to commit, suicide and explode and kill a bunch of your opponent's army. But Taku using these crawling bombs in a very ingenious sort of unorthodox or out of the box way. And Randy clearly not not prepared for this strategy. Randy clearly caught off guard. The spectator saying Imba. It is interesting because you just do not see the crawling bombs very often. So yeah, Taku really putting on a show for us here. This is a extremely interesting strategy, and now bringing in another crawling bomb to see what else he can do. Now Randy is going to be ready for it this time. I'm sure he's aware and attempting to pull his army back as well as he can as this crawling bomb is moving in. Oh, it will take out a few things. It's not as, maybe not as effective as the first one. But Taku now has gotten a few fiends through, and guys, the fiend is the pyro. Pyro is a great T2 rating unit. And they're going to push through here. Try to get some damage done, but Randy has enough defense in his base, and Randy is now on T2 as well. So Randy also going into T2 K-bots. But PtaQ is now pushing in with a combination of Mortys, or I guess in Bar they're called Sheldons, Fiends, and Grunts. So once again, Randy is holding his ground. He's got to find a way to deal with these Sheldons because those will simply siege his base and army from afar, as you can see here. They're very, very good for that long-range combat. That long-range sieging ability is what the Sheldons excel at, and so yeah, PtaQ doing a very good job here. But Randy has now advanced to T2 as well, and the game is now pretty even. Once again, oh my god, PtaQ going for the commander snipe here. Oh my god, he's doing a good job. He gets him down to 40%. He gets him down to 40%, but Randy with some nice D-guns will not let that happen. And now PtaQ using these Spectres. This is an invisible spy K-bot that they can self-destruct to create an AoE EMP explosion that will paralyze your enemy's units or buildings. So PtaQ paralyzing this clump of grunts over and over to give himself time to pick them off from afar with the Sheldons. So guys, this is some very high level play by both players. A lot of really interesting and unusual strategies being used in this 1v1 that you don't often see. It's really been an unbelievable game, and Taku just holding on somehow by the seat of his pants, even though he's just in this tiny corner of the map and constantly getting pushed back by Randy. He keeps holding on with crawling bombs and Spectre explosions and Sheldons, and doing whatever he can to stay in this game as long as possible. But Taku, you know, even though he's still positionally behind, he's ahead on metal. He did get to T2 more quickly than his opponent, and so he has upgraded his economy. And so the longer, in some ways, he can stay in this game, he's now building the advanced geothermal plant, which will give him a ton of energy. The longer he can stay in this game, and if he can continue to build an economic advantage over Randy, he could potentially come back, even though the spectators are saying he was going to lose. I think Taku, you can never count Taku out. He is a brilliant strategist. He's one of the developers. He knows all the cheat codes, guys. You can never count someone out that knows the cheat codes of the game. And even though Randy has the center of the map, and has done a very good job of putting Taku on the back foot this entire game. Taku not to be counted out, but Taku building a persecutor now, guys. The persecutor is the toaster from Escalation, for example, or Protea. Guys, this is a advanced pop-up plasma artillery. It's an advanced long-range defense, and it's got a huge range. As you can see, the range is just massive, as Taku will shell Randy's base from afar, and he will push back this attack. In fact, let's see if we can actually look at the range here. Turn off the player cam. This is the range, guys. That thin red line, that's how far it can fire. So it can fire very far, and it hits in a very nice AoE. So Taku with a extremely well-placed defensive artillery unit, and that should hopefully prevent Randy from killing his base, or from being able to push on him too easily. He's also attempting to build a persecutor here in the middle. However, Randy is not going to let him do it without a fight. He is sending Sheldons, and PtaQ responding with his own Sheldons. Both players now fighting for this territory. And I'm surprised that Randy doesn't want to build some persecutors of his own. Of course, he can do that as well. But in the meantime, PtaQ with a nice army of fiends. Will he attempt to push this heavily defended northern island at the top? So now Taku has this mammoth on the field, and guys, mammoths are a very, very strong K-bot. Of course, it is called the heavily armored assault bot. That is its actual designation. But guys, the mammoth, which was known as the sumo in OTA, it is slow, but it packs a punch, and it has a lot of health, and it has a really good range too. So this mammoth might make a difference. We'll have to see. As both players continuing to siege each other from afar. And let's go ahead and take a look at the player views for a second. This is Taku. This is what he is currently looking at. What he is currently observing on the field. And let's look at Randy. This is what Randy is looking at. Guys, this sumo has been stunned. And it's stunned for another 6 seconds. Taku attempting to protect it. It is at now 8%, 765% HP. And Taku attempting to repair it. He's trying to keep it alive here. This is a big investment, guys. These mammoths are not cheap. If you can keep them alive, it is a good idea. Oh, here we go. Hang on. It's at 330 health now. 125 health, 17 HP. Something could breathe on this mammoth and it would die. But it looks like PtaQ is barely going to get this out of range of Randy's artillery. So that's pretty amazing that he was able to save that after it was stunned there in the middle. Took a lot of damage, but guys, in the meantime, PtaQ has some arbiters, or they're called dominators, in OTA, and these are going to these are very strong against static defenses. In fact, that's pretty much all they're designed for, is this long-range sieging. They shoot these vertically launched missiles that will home in on their targets. and it's killing these light laser towers in one shot. So very well done by PtaQ with these dominators. But here in the middle, the battle continues to rage. Of course, this Persecutor has made it up, and now PtaQ has 2 Persecutors in range of the middle. And this Mammoth is still alive, still dealing damage. I can't believe he saved that thing. It has 3 kills already, and he's attempting to get it back to health. Guys, typically you don't just see one Mammoth. This is a... generally when you build them, you'll start to build an army. It's sort of interesting that it's got this damaged sort of texture. You can see that it's the metal is kind of warped on the top. That's an interesting feature. But Taku has now taken out this entire area of defense. Hate when I do that. And now he is going to push even further into Randy's base. So as you can see, now the map is starting to equalize as Taku is coming back into the game. And economically ahead, he is making about 20 or 30 more metal per second and about 4 times as much energy as Randy. So Taku in a very good position. He was able to survive Randy's early aggression and is now sort of coming back with a vengeance. Even though the spectators didn't give him much hope. But guys, these Moho exploiters are keeping Randy in the game. The Moho exploiter, a core T2 metal extractor that has laser cannons on it and can defend itself, and it will do that. And so Taku will be pushed back here at the top, and this game will continue. It looks like this Persecutor was destroyed here in the center, but there's still a lot that Taku has here in the middle. Quite a few grunts and fiends that may be pushing in. But there's still a lot of defense. I don't know about this. Taku's got to be careful. This push is coming in now. But will it be enough? That's sort of the question. Does Taku have enough to break this line? I don't think so. I don't think there's quite enough here. As Blue poking and prodding for a weak point spot. But oh, here is our first tactical nuke of the game that Randy has built. And it will land on this fusion reactor. It will get it down to 11% health. Very well played by Randy to build that tactical nuke. And now it looks like Taku's base is exposed. He took out all the eco here except for this one fusion reactor that was able to survive. But he has another tactical nuke, and he in the chamber, so he could go ahead and launch that at any time. And of course, Taku, without having any nuke defense, is going to be in a bit of trouble because these tactical nukes are very powerful. They can take out a large part of a person's base, as we just saw. And one more tactical nuke on this fusion would certainly kill it. It is very low. So nice job by Randy to have the wherewithal to build that tactical nuke silo. It now has 2 missiles ready to fire, and this mammoth is still alive. I can't believe this monster now with 16 kills. It was at 17 HP, and now it's going to take out the Persecutor. It's unbelievable that mammoth is still in the game, still kicking ass and taking names. That is really really heads-up play by PtaQ to keep that alive. But now that PtaQ has taken out the northern part of Randy's base, he's now going for this eastern approach with a couple cans. Cans are very tanky. But Randy does have some pyros that will push this back. And this sumo still alive. It's unbelievable. This thing just refuses to die, no matter how much Randy... no matter how much punishment is thrown its way, it just refuses to die. But now Randy, with 3 tactical nukes in the chamber, and I don't know, I really do not understand what he is waiting for. I don't know if he's looking for a sign to shoot those, but PtaQ's base is undefended. There is no... Here comes the second tactical nuke. And that will hit the Persecutor there. It won't quite kill it. It'll get it low. But PtaQ has no defense. It has no anti-nukes or anti-missiles. And so Randy just needs to eviscerate his base with these endless missiles, and he is doing that. He's doing a good job of taking out what he can. Taking out even more there, taking out a Moho, the fusion, all of the wind generators, all the eco that was here is now gone. And I can't believe this Persecutor is still alive. It's got 7% health, but it is now targeting this tactical nuke silo, and it's just at 7% health. It's unbelievable that he can't kill that. And guys, this Persecutor is slowly killing the nuke silo. It's probably not going to survive. Randy's got to kill this. He's trying. It's at 1%. He's got to kill it. He's got to kill it. It's at 1%. But he's just not able to. Oh my god. It lives with 70 health. Something could breathe on that. And he needs to fire his last tactical nuke, as this thing will die. He's going to fire one more missile before it bites the dust. Getting that final parting shot off. Let's see where we'll go. Oh yeah, I think he targeted here. He killed some units. I don't like that. I think he should have kept targeting Taku's base, but either way, that's unbelievable. This thing survived with 1 HP and was able to kill the tactical nuke silo. So there's just been so many moments in this game where a unit lives with almost no HP and then still has a huge impact, or continues to have a huge impact on the outcome. But guys, now Taku is on T3, and things are starting to look even worse for Randy. T3 is, of course, very scary indeed, especially in a 1v1 situation. And now Taku with another bombing run. Guys, we saw how much damage he did with 4 bombers. Now he's got about 20. And taking out all the metal makers there. Focusing this fusion. There is some air defense, but there's just not enough air defense, and this fusion is almost certainly gone. And now, man, Randy in a lot of trouble. Going for the tactical nuke, but of course that has already been taken out of the game, and things are just starting to look worse and worse for Randy, as he's now at well, his base is collapsing, and Taku making about 5 times as much energy and about 20 more metal per second. And now building Shivas as well. Bombers continuing to harass the eastern position. See what he can do. He might be able to get this Geo here. Oh, he doesn't quite get it. But guys, now there are Shivas on the battlefield, and I've talked before about how I think Shivas are the perfect T3 unit. I just think Shiva is just everything you could possibly want. They have these little missiles on their backs that are great for stationary structures. They fire cannons or shells that explode in a large AoE. They're great against especially masses of T1 units. And basically, Randy saw those Shivas, which is just a scary sight to behold, and leaves the game. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that one. That was a really, really good 1v1. Randy certainly had an advantage for most of the game, and he there was a couple moments I think he probably could have killed Taku, especially that early on when he had those thugs, and he sort of hesitated. He was very indecisive, and that ultimately may have cost him the game. But either way, very back and forth. And guys, I hope you enjoyed this cast. Please join my community, my Discord, if you want to be part of the community. And I will see you on the next cast.